Hello again and welcome to New Meta Podcast. Today we're talking about aura items among other things. Marco, welcome to the podcast. How are you in general?
In general, doing pretty well, thank you.
And is that a prelude for when I ask you about DotA? You can bounce into the emo-ness.
In DotA, we're in a different world of misery and doom and gloom. I'm on a 4-loss streak. Funnily enough, I'm on a 4-loss streak, but my prediction streak is a 10 strong. I have been wise about not using that bad boy. So,
no faith.
No faith for very good reason, because I'm on a 4-loss streak.
Wow, 4-loss streak sounds amazing to me. I'm on a 6-loss streak, so
4. I'm
pipping you by 2. I've got one of those. I've got my profile's just red apart from 1.
Me too.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
I'm on a 5-loss streak.
Wow.
And a 1 out of 9. So, very cool.
My goodness, I'm 1 out of 9 as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I am 1 and 9 in my last 10. That's remarkable.
I've lost 3 voice break games in a row, Adam. I'm thinking of changing to League of Legends and just starting anew.
No turn rate gaming.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
Everyone gets spider legs, perma spider legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dota's pretty bad. Adam, do you have any particular things you want to vent about out of your 9 losses in your last 10, or anything that sticks out?
So I was on an 8-2, so that was really good, and then I followed it up with a 1-9, and that does not feel good. Feels worse than winning. Like the feeling of losing is worse than more intense than the feeling of winning. So overall, not enjoying myself. And solo matchmaking is completely broken, and I don't know what to do because I play solo ranked. It's terrible. I play solo unranked, and it's terrible.
What's broken?
So, it's woefully imbalanced. So this is just my last game, and I'll just read the ranks. So my team had a Divine 3, a Divine 2, a Legend 1, an Archon 4, and a Divine 2. This is solo unranked. And my team is a 1-1 and a 3 stack. So, as me being a solo. And I'm playing against a 5 stack that has
already broken,
a Divine 4, rank 229, rank 61, rank 522, and rank 1,579.
What?
And we lost in 28 minutes, or 26 minutes. And it's not even that I'm upset that I was playing with a Legend 1 and an Archon 4. I'm totally cool with that. I play with people like that all the time. It's that all of their ranks are higher than all of our ranks.
Yeah.
By a ginormous deal over our highest ranks. What am I supposed to do against a rank 61? They're high, like, it was just...
Yeah, that's crazy imbalance. I have no idea how the system had no other just divine/mortal stack queuing at the same time as you that could match it. Because...
And there's a 5-minute queue.
What? Does this NA no one play? What's going on?
It might be. I mean, they also randomed 2 heroes, and they got a Meepo, so that was fun. And then they had a tree... And they had a Void Spirit 4 that went Shiva's first. They just got they just farmed level 3 quests against us and still finished in 26 minutes. It was just not a fun time.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I've had much better experience. Like I said, only 1 win in my last 9. That was with Tiny Position 1, which, by the way, was very fun. I don't have much to say.
Oh, I did get Silver Snapfire. So
yeah, I saw that.
That was the only fun thing, but those came off after losses because
you can say voice lines now though to make yourself
you
happy.
can still get 50 points of experience per loss. So I got the Silver Snap. That was fun. So you do get the spam like yeehaw and like you want a cookie, not for you. You get to say that when you're losing at least.
That's good. That's something.
Oh, and one more thing to complain about. I think I saw a Reddit thread on this, but it happened to me as well. You can have somebody... You cannot report somebody for comm abuse if they don't type anything. So they can be on the mic screaming at you the entire game, and you can't report them after the game because they didn't type anything. It also goes for if they don't type very much either, because we want to. I think my one win, actually, somebody, as we were like throning, called us the N-word, and so it's like that's an auto report for me, and it's just like they did not say enough, and it's like they said one line the entire game, and it's worthy of a ban or a report or whatever, a low prio stint, but you cannot report them because they said one line. So interesting. The way to circumvent the system for sure.
I know, yeah. Dota's grim. So all the listeners get the joy of listening to all three of us hate on the game. So
I like that we were on a 4, and he's like, Mark was like, I'm on a 4 loss streak. It's so terrible. It's like, well, we each one up you.
Yeah.
5 out of 6.
Yeah.
My Ricky's still going strong though, boys. Don't worry.
The thing that is annoying at the moment is I feel like when I play ranked, the games are just gross. Like, they're really quick and they're just decided early, and they're just sort of like stompy and a bit brutal. But yet, when you play unranked, the games are just really low quality.
Yeah.
So it's like, I do really want to play ranked. Like, normally I would just happily play ranked all the time. Like, I would never really play unranked. But the games are just kind of brutal. Even the games that I've won in ranked, I've only won 2 ranked games since the patch. They've both just been like Meepo free wins kind of thing. So, and the rest have just been kind of stompy, brutal losses. So
yeah, I'm at the point where like I'm being where Stan's outlook is I just want to play a good close game of Dota. Like, if I lose, it's still okay as long as it was like, an enjoyable experience. And I'm like, well, I get like, I like to win. That's how I derive enjoyment. It's usually because supporting's so thankless or whatever. But now I'm just like, I just want the game to be not a Gigastomp where we get farmed for quests and stuff. Like, I just want to play a game and not have it decided from Overwolf saying that, they have a bunch of immortals and we don't have any. Feels bad.
I feel the same. That I can't remember the last game I played that was really competitive from both teams and back and forth. It's either been like, oh, this has been really easy, or oh, we've just been dog shit and we're just losing, lost. And that leads into a wider discussion of the state of the game. And we've seen a couple of people on the Discord chat about, or even in Reddit posts, the game is not what it used to be. It's too much Dota 3, it's too much League. And we're all chatting.
It's not as if it's not, from my perspective, it's not as if I've been in no games that are back and forth, but even the games that I'm looking through on my profile that have gone, say, I was in a game that went 52 and I've been in another game that went 53, they're the only like 50 plus minute games that I've been in this patch. I don't know how that would compare, but that's a side issue. Even those games,
the quicker patches, right? Overall.
Oh, definitely. There's been so many games that are like 20 minutes. Like, if I'm just scrolling through, I've got 27, 25, 27, 29, 22, 21, 23.
Jeez,
that's just on the first like page before I click load more. I feel like that never used to be it was very rare that you got a game that like throned at 23 minutes.
Yeah, I have lots of mine is a little bit longer than yours, but I do have a lot of like low 30s, like 31s. Which is not much different.
Yeah, even the games that have gone longer, like me and Marco played 2 games today. One was 35, that was the Monkey King game where you were Mirana, and one was 48, where I was Timber and you were Void Spirit. Even that game that went 48, would you describe that as like a back and forth game?
No, it was kind of garbage.
It was kind of like we're always scrambling. Like, we're never.
Yeah, you're just like prolonging the inevitable kind of.
The other team could have ended the game way earlier. The other team was smashing all of our team. I was keeping everyone on hold with a Void Spirit, but 1-14, 5-16, 2-14, 3-14 is like the game's incredibly against us, and the other team just took ages to finish.
Yeah, I think so.
I do have one thing, on a happier note, it's just been so long looking through my history. I did have my first over 70-minute game.
Ah, yes.
on the patch. So that happened a long time ago, since the last episode.
Pirate Hat Pog.
Yeah, so it turns out an OD with Apex and Pirate Hat hits quite hard. Apex...
Tell us what they do.
Yeah, so Apex gives primary attribute bonus by 80%, so a ton of int to a OD, and then Pirate Hat gives 250 attack speed, and then if you get a kill, a bounty rune spawns. So, yeah, we basically, like, it ended at 72, so we basically farmed up 2 level 70, or minute 70 items and ended. Our OD had Ag's buff, and then Force Bloodstone, Refresher, Hex, and then Apex Pirate Hat, and had 5,600 mana base. And they only had 1 tier 5 item, and they had the Mirror Shield. But that had already been nerfed. That one is block and reflect once every 4 seconds on a single target spell. And plus $20 attributes. Yeah. But that was fun. It was fun to see see those things drop and be like, oh man, 5 hyperstones on one item.
Yeah, that's kind of a joke. I'm still looking forward to that first 70 minutes. I guess. Yeah. I mean, do I want a game to go 70 minutes just for these items? I mean, it'll be a silver lining if it does. Well,
it's like that was a fun one. That was a back and forth game. So those are the ones I'm looking for. Like,
yeah.
You know, as long as you can keep yourself in the game and have one outpost at the 5-minute marks, you can keep yourself in it. But it's hard. It's really hard.
One thing that I would say it feels like is the games that I wouldn't describe them as back and forth. I would just describe them as the game being even for like 40 minutes. And then a team gets an advantage and then they win. Like the Monkey King game earlier, that went 35 minutes, but it's even for 25. One team gets like a 5k gold experience lead, and then it's just like one graph like that.
Well, let me get that graph up, because at 25 it felt like we were... So the gold XP is equal to 25. Yeah, I mean, I guess if the gold XP is equal, for certain you should be able to have a chance. I think, we're a bit shit. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, enough negativity, I suppose. Before we get into the actual topic of the day, aura items, which is quite a nice one. These are like, there's never enough said about these little choices that can make such a big difference. Like what team aura items you get, understanding them is super important.
Well, what's fun about those now is that they're starting items, so it goes all the way to minute 0 now.
Yes,
aura items.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Before we get there, though, I've got a scenario for you both. Right, Ice Frog has... Originally I was going to say Ice Frog died, but that's actually that's too deep. So yeah, sorry, I'll go back on that. Ice Frog's just resigned. He's gone and taken a well-deserved early retirement, living in a faraway tropical island or whatever.
With his mango trees.
With his mango trees, yeah, always mango trees. And now there's obviously a vacant place at the top of the Dotaverse, and you're both vying for that position. I was wondering what do you pledge to the Dotaverse as what you'll get done in the first sort of 100 days? What's your top policy in Dota to get you elected to his office? I was thinking removing techies from the game. Do you think that's potentially a good one? Anything else?
Think of all the techies spammers you would, those guys spin big usually. They have Arcanas.
Yes,
I was going to say, make techies players pay to play it, and then just like distribute the funds that you make across the Dota universe, and everyone wins.
Like a battle pass ticket, or a what is it? What's the Saturday tournament? What's that called?
Battle Cup.
A battle cup ticket to play techies.
Yeah, that shit must come with a cost.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would. Sorry, go ahead, Marco.
I'll start because I've got a wholesome answer. I would create the world's best tutorial about using spells and hitting creep, and expand the Dota pool to 20 million
world's
players.
Best? You mean like
new player experience revamp? Sounds good. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Tutorial. That's what you're going for, right? Not just last hit trainer. You have to play it for 10 hours before the game actually loads.
Marco's one would be so
Yeah.
brutal. It's like you've got to perfectly CS like 10 ways before you can move on to like picking a hero or whatever.
No, yeah, that's exactly it. You're not even playing a hero. You're just gonna be a super creep, like last hitting creep.
Yeah. You get one spell. Like if you get 100 creeps in a row, you get a spell,
Yeah.
and it builds from there.
There's gonna be like comprehension tests about what does this spell do, what's the best combo. Really get into the roots of the mechanics, and then you.
Well,
can
you wouldn't
use to
you wouldn't be able to play if Drow's new E is part of that comprehension
Oh
test,
my
then
God,
you'd be
yeah.
struggling because I
got
don't
hit
think you
by that
quite
today.
understand that one.
I got hit by it today. I was like,
It's so bullshit.
what's my hero doing? I couldn't move. I was like, where's the slow? I hover over it and I scan it and I don't see any like move slow percent on the tooltip. But then when I died and then read it in full, I saw it says something about frost arrows being applied. I was like, fucking bullshit. But yeah, I'm too old to read tooltips. But new players.
Yeah, new
Your town
whippersnappers.
portal scrolls.
Yeah,
You
man.
young whippersnappers.
Did Adam have a policy?
I would just keep in line with my complaints from today. I would fix. I mean, this is all born out of them trying to fix matchmaking. Like, so I would just continue and make that the priority is fixing ranked and unranked matchmaking. Oh, Divine 3 is such a curse. Too high. I'm like Icarus. I flew too close to the sun. I should and the matchmaking where you just get the pleasure of being stomped by 5-stack immortals.
Yeah,
That's not a hot take. That wasn't not very fun thing, but I feel like you fix matchmaking, people will want to keep playing it, right? Because they'll play on any patch.
Yeah.
For pretty much whatever. I know if you've seen that comic where Ice Frog gives them the plate of, I think it's a plate of poop, and it's like, this is the new patch, and like, oh, this is terrible, I hate it, and then they like just start to eat it anyways.
Yeah.
And they're just you're so addicted. So I mean, I've played on anything. It just would want it to be a little more balanced and who I get matched up with.
Yeah, fair enough. Seem like good policies to me. Maybe you're right about Divine 3 being the curse. Maybe we need to go back to like Archon 4 or whatever, like the max, the bell curve, the peak. That's what most players are. And then you just get matched with other people that are always the same rank because there's so many of them searching. Maybe that's the peak Dota experience. Who knows?
Yeah, I was like having a bit of a not a lot of any toxicity, but I was complaining a little bit in all chat, just like, because that was my third game in a row like that. All I wanted to do was just play a game, and they were all under 30 minutes stomps, and I was just like, man, I just want a balanced match. And then the rank 61 on the other team said, like, unranked right now is there's 4 buckets of matchmaking that you progress through, and so we're in the top bucket. And if anybody on your party is in that bucket, that's what everyone gets put in, everyone searches in there. So that's how they had a Divine 2 search with a Legend 1 and an Archon 4, and then you get put in the same bucket as the Giga ranked 500 stack.
Oh, it's only ranked though where the lowest members medal matches the highest members medal, though.
I
Remember
thought
that-
that was only when you queued with an Immortal anyway.
Oh, is it only for Immortal?
But again, this is like old wives' tales about what the matchmaking system is.
Was changed so much.
It could be
Yeah.
any of them. Who knows? It's like no one knows. They tweak it all the time, so the buckets may well be true. It's like,
And I didn't get a
No way to
survey
tell.
after the game. I didn't get to say, did you enjoy yourself? I couldn't say no. Game was a stomp because
they're
it wasn't.
so funny. I love that.
Nobody was
So
smurfing,
weird.
so it's not even that wasn't even a problem. It was everybody was adequately ranked. It was just
Yeah.
the game was a stomp. This was not fair.
In Valve we trust.
Yep.
Smiley face. Aura items, you mentioned that they're now starting items. We have this trifecta of Ring of Basilius, Buckler, and Headdress. So Bassi and Headdress are 450 gold. Buckler is 500. That's a recent change. They used to all be 450. You mentioned that these are starting items. Is that sort of the meta of lanes? Is it to get a hero that starts with these? Because I felt like when the patch first dropped in all the games, position 5s were just straight up buying Bassi or Buckler, particularly Buckler when it was cheaper, and just going to lane with it straight up. I feel like that's kind of fallen away a bit now, and you're seeing
I don't know if
regen
it's
heavy stuff.
I don't know if they're starting items anymore, like you said, but they are the first. You might have components of it in your starting build, and that's the first thing you complete. Like when you bring your courier out now, because everybody's got one, so you can just bring out something. Like when having played Snapfire, because I do auras on that too. So I always start with two tangos and then a ring of regen, and then a mango and 2 branches, and then that becomes a headdress like really easily within like the first 150 gold. And headdress works really well on her, and it's good. I feel like that one is the one I see the most in the lanes. Probably that,
really?
And well, because I build it every game, I guess on Snap. But it's either headdress or buckler. Bassie's a little more niche, I feel like, because it's changed. It's not armor now; it's mana regen.
Yes,
that's messing with my head for sure.
Yeah, same.
They're interesting. You see an interesting distribution of them. Headdress and Buckler, I feel like you only really see them on the supports. Bassi you sometimes see on like mana hungry cores, especially seeing as it builds into Veil. So does oh no, it's the only of those components that build into Veil. I'm thinking of Vlads that 2 of them build into, Buckler and Bassi. When you're thinking of which of these items to go with, do you feel like you always want one in a side lane but never more than one, or they're so cheap? It's like part of me feels like you just get 2 on a side lane because you're going to get.
I wouldn't complain about Buckler headdress in a lane.
Yeah,
like Bassi, I think is niche because just depending on the hero, you might not need to have a mana, but 2 armor and 2 HP regen is very good at all stages.
Yeah, everyone's ogre now.
Yeah,
high HP regen, high armor, good times.
The Buckler toggle is a new thing to get used to, kind of cool. It's not like the purple toggle on and off. Now it's this like gold ring on and off.
Yeah, it doesn't look quite as good as the Bassi toggle did.
I feel like it's quite common for the position 4 to start lane with a Blightstone or Orb of Venom as well. I feel like I've seen quite a lot of those 2 items. So then if you can kind of counterbalance it with your own headdress or buckler, does make a big difference in terms of balancing the lane again.
Yeah, and all this is born out of no stout shield anymore. Now everyone's got 200 gold. So it's kind of what direction are you taking it?
It is a nice change, that removing stout shield. Opening the freedom of what you can spend your gold on is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It supports, the carries can get more regen. That means your support can get something a bit greedier.
Yeah, I'm seeing lots of carries do.
Gold. Couriers no longer need to be bought.
What is it? The carries with the ring of protection now, right? That's the new Vlad. Or the stout, cheap. I mean. The new stout is just to get 2 more armor.
It's too good to turn. Wow. It's too good to turn down. 150 gold for 2 armor. It's like the most insane value ever. Yeah,
just like this. So this rank 61 Treant, he went 3, and he just came to lane with double ring of protection, and then went phase boots and had 11 armor. And I'm like, what the hell is this?
Wow, it's so simple but effective. Holy moly!
It's like the new double stout. It felt so bad.
I mean, if you think about how insanely good value ring of protection is, it's sort of evidenced in the fact that Buckler recipe is 300. So you have ring of protection for 150, 1 ironwood branch for 50. That brings you to 200, obviously. Buckler's 500, and it gives 2 armor, same as the ring of protection to you. It just gives it in an AoE, and it gives 2 more all attributes. That's what the recipe's giving. It's literally just turning the ring of protection into an aura and giving +2 all attributes, and that's worth 300. And they just had to nerf, or that is in, they just had to increase the cost of the recipe. So if you factor all of that in, an obvious conclusion is how insanely good value this ring of protection is.
Yeah.
For 150 gold, and I presume it stacks Buckler and ring of protection. You know, if you've got a ring of protection, if you're a carry, and your support in the lane's got a buckler, that's plus 4 armor.
Yeah.
And the cost to you is 150. It really is a remarkably cheap item. It's probably the most value item in the game, maybe even more than Branch, on a per gold basis for what you're getting.
Yeah, this makes me chatting about this makes me think Ring of Protection's nearly mandatory because it's such good value for your position 3 or your position 1. It makes me think you don't even need a buckler because, like you say, you're just spending so much gold, 350 gold to get the aura, and it's like, well, do you need the aura? Just one person really should be the one needing the armor in terms of a laning phase, so just have them pick up the Ring of Protection and use that excess gold elsewhere. Feels pretty strong idea.
Yeah, Buckler feels more supporty.
Yeah, but then it's like, well, tell your carry just to buy the ring, because your support shouldn't really need armor, because they shouldn't get in the fray, ideally, and then let your carry be the one tanking any fighting trade or tanking the creep little peps. Maybe.
Yeah, it's the argument for having it on the support would be, first of all, you can you can still get Ring of Protection on your carry, and you're just going to have 4 armor instead of 2.
Yeah.
And then also, it's so cheap that you're going to be getting good value just from the aura in like skirmishes for quite a while before you move the buckler out or upgrade it to a Vlad's. So it's definitely an option. Maybe it's not like a paramount. Maybe, given what you said, it might be better to just say, carry, spend 150 on a Ring of Protection, and then the support, say, get Headdress or something. I don't know.
That sounds like a really strong opener. If you've got a support with a Headdress and your carry's got a Ring of Protection, that seems really strong.
Yeah. And then, I suppose, a bit of an obvious question. Adam's sort of sidelined the Ring of Bassi as sort of a side thing. Between Headdress and Buckler, are you looking at the hero you're laning with, or are you looking at the enemies and thinking, is this going to be like a lane we're going to be trading a lot where physical damage, so I want Buckler? Or is it like, is this a sustain lane? I want Headdress? Like, what's the calculation? Or are you looking at your own hero, or are you looking at the enemy heroes, or is it like a combination?
I think Headdress is better on ranged heroes, and Buckler's better on melee heroes.
Right. It makes sense, right?
Like, in a vacuum. That's what I do on Snap, because you're ranged and the health regen is good, right? You're not going to be too up in someone's face, and they can't really hit you because of your kit for the most part, because of their anti-trading spells you have. So, and then Headdress builds in the Grieves really well, so it just kind of goes with the rest of the build. That's that's kind of where I'm thinking about it. I wonder if you say if you were an ogre support, do you think you go Buckler or you go Headdress? You don't need any more armor, do you?
Yeah, I think if you've got high armor, you don't need more because it's diminishing value.
Yeah, at least at that point in the game.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely encourage more Headdresses and Bucklers to be picked up very early on.
I've definitely built all 3 of these as Venge support, just depending on the lane, and they're really cheap. So it's feels like all I could get. I've been building, and I've also seen lots of Venge supports build Vlads, which is new.
Yeah, I like Vlads on Venge. It seems good to me. How much of your calculation is based off what it builds into, or is that sort of irrelevant? Because worth saying, Bassi obviously builds into Veil and Vlads. It didn't used to build into Veil, it does now. Buckler builds into Vlads and AC, and Headdress builds into Mech, Pipe, and Helm. So, presumably, would you say you'd still buy a Headdress even if you've got no intention of buying Mech, Pipe, or Helm? Just as purely like a nice little laning throwaway item?
It's cheap enough to do that. I mean,
yeah, I think it is cheap enough.
$450, and then you just get half of it back, so really $225 for the laning stage to make it better. It's definitely worth it for that. I feel like Vlad's on Venge in particular is popular just because two of these really value items build into the Vlads, and then also ends up synergizing with the new E, because you're giving stats now.
Yeah.
Now, do I need to double check? Vlad still gives bonus damage, right?
It gives 25% lifesteal, 1.5 mana regen, and 3 armor.
Okay.
3 armor. Okay, so it doesn't give the bonus damage, but I mean, it still synergizes with the. Where am I going? I'm trying to find Vlad's.
You were trying to say it synergizes with Sanj, because Sanj gives lifesteal now, or lifesteal bonus rather now. So that 25% lifesteal, if anyone's got a Sanj or a Halberd or an SMY, that's getting buffed up to be even more lifesteal. So there you go. This still synergizes with, you're giving primary attribute, which is more damage, so it goes with the lifesteal more. There you go.
Yeah, saved it. And the bonus attack range with the so just, I mean, it's all, that's an aura you want, right? If you're going to Venge, necessitates that you group together, and you build auras when you group together, and Vlad's is a aura, and it goes into the ease of your starting build, transitioning into a really good value 2,300 item.
Yeah, the progression of Vlads is so nice to have Buckler plus Bazzi in there. And then when you're grouping up in the early mid-game, 25 lifesteal is not to be overlooked in terms of just that bit more sustain, that bit more effective HP that you give in your team. 3 armor to everyone, if you're balling up, is real good value as well. So, yeah, I definitely see why you'd want to pick that up on Venge. It's interesting that the damage components changed to Helm of Dominator. So I don't know how many Helm of Dominators you've seen in your game.
There's 0.
It gives 5H regen in an aura, which is kind of nice. Gives percentage bonus attack damage, which is kind of nice. But I feel like in the early mid-game, having that bit more damage, I would rather my team survive and sustain rather than output more damage in the same amount of seconds. So I'm not as fussed about that damage increase. And then 5 HP regen in a fight, you'd rather have lifesteal and armor, I think. And then the build-up of Helm of Dominator, it's only Headdress that you see of value, so...
And there's like a broadsword in there that's just like defunct on a lot of heroes. It's just sort of defunct on a lot of support heroes.
This is a lot. That's a lot of damage amp, though. 20%.
Yeah. It's base damage amp. Yeah.
But I mean,
that's a lot if you're
it is quite
if you're with the Venge passive. Maybe I should have got that, because I built Grieves on 5 Venge one game, and I thought it was really cool, but then we lost, so I don't know how I feel about it. Didn't even get it late. It was 22-minute Grieves. Speaking
of broadsword, I've just thought of another policy for my Ice Frog. If I was Ice Frog, one of my pledges would be to turn broadsword and claymore into one item. Why is there a 1,200 gold 18 damage item and a 1,400 gold 21 damage item?
Whoa! Back off those 2 items, man. They are staying in the game.
Broadsword and claymore, just make them one item.
Because a claymore obviously goes into a Battle Fury, and a broadsword goes into a Chrysalis. Let's be real here. Like, you can't be putting just a flimsy little broadsword in your Battle Fury.
Claymore doesn't go into Battle Fury either, to be fair.
There was not
anymore. It's
not
just
anymore.
Demon Edge now.
No, not anymore. But
I think there was a time where both went in, Claymore and Broadsword.
Yeah, I have a feeling. It didn't used to be Demon Edge.
Yeah.
It didn't used to be Demon Edge.
I think both
way long ago.
I'm sure it didn't used to be Perseverance either.
Ooh.
Has it always been Perseverance?
I think Perseverance has always been in there.
I think that's
Man, I'm off with my items today. I totally forgot about... I haven't played Carry. Man, no one's building Battle Fury right now, but that's another story.
No.
Except for Anti-Mage.
Yeah. Can I make a point about the Helm of Dominator versus Vlads?
We're in the mid-game items now.
Yeah, mid-game.
Early mid-game.
So, say, yes, the Helm of Dominator damage of 20% is pretty significant. The way I would view this scenario is that I'd way rather, if we're going to ball up mid-game, pushing as a team, I'd way rather us have more sustain, and I think it's way more important to have sustain and like defensive capability rather than just pumping your team's damage output via the likes of a Helm Dominator. I think if you're going to ball as a team, that's why you want Grieves. You want to just the enemy team not to ever break you down, because when you're sieging, the enemy team is just going to keep coming at you with more spells, etc. You need therefore sustain to hold your ground and to make that push work, as opposed to just pure damage. So that's why I wouldn't be as happy to see Helm Dominator rather than a Vlads from a utility grouping up aspect.
May I suggest another item then?
Gone.
Drum instead of Helm. I think the drum is slept on this patch. I think it's really good. It's undergone another change. Now it gives a huge amount of attack speed, 35 attack speed during the active. So that, because now it has the Glove of Haste, so necessitates that it does
Drums
that.
is really strong, yeah. Didn't it used to be... Well, no, sorry, it's really good.
Move speed and...
Didn't it used to be something like 9 stats? Like 9 all stats?
That's because it had Bracer... Yeah, it used to be Bracer and Mantle of Intelligence plus Recipe, so it gave 9 to everything, and it was kind of just like every carry builds the drums because it's like a mini... not a Scotty, but like a mini... stats to everything, a mini ultimate orb plus active and plus move speed.
It used to be too much value just in of itself, but now its value is more heavily falling on the aura, attack speed, movement speed. Because it didn't even used to give movement speed recently. I got confused thinking that drums... Wait, or was it that drums active only gave movement speed? I'm getting confused.
It gave movement speed, yeah.
Has it always given movement speed?
I think it gave some attack speed too, but it used to give passive movement speed, and now it gives passive attack speed. So now it's the when you press the active, it's 55 attack speed total that everyone's getting. So it's like AoE Hyperstone. Yeah.
So basically, the aura and the active use of drums is now stronger. Its innate stats to the bearer are weaker, so you're going to see it
more supporty. It's cheap.
Yes, more
1.9k is cheaper than both of those other ones.
Yeah,
I mean, it passively gives a Glove of Haste to any hero in 1200 AoE.
Yeah,
that's very strong. That's very strong. Where do you think this item is built in a team comp? Because I feel like part of me wants to say, oh well, because it's an attack speed aura, you don't necessarily need it on your carry hero or your mid hero that needs attack speed. You may as well have it on one of your support heroes. But at the same time, I feel like you often see drums being picked up on cores.
Yeah, I don't know, because of its stats being weaker, if the cores are going to be less keen to buy it. Looking at only +4 to all stats, I would be less inclined relative to the days when it was like we said, 8-9 stats. I think you could honestly get this on a position 4, like Avenge. I know we spoke about Vlad being very good, but I've seen...
Avenger's got no slots at this, right?
Yeah,
she can do both of these items. That's what... Out of the 3, right? I'd rather have a Vlad's drum on my team than a Vlad's helm or a helm drum.
Yeah.
Like, I think Vlad's drum is a really nice sweet spot between the two, and it's only like 5.2k between the two items. Or no, 4.2k, so it's like doable from a support standpoint.
I think, definitely doable from even 4 or 5, and the fact it's got very nice progression, casual crown, casual windlace are very legit items for your supports to be carrying. I would definitely see it on a 4-5. I built it on Potem in our game today when I was playing this kind of off-lane Potem, and I do think its stats probably aren't good enough for a core in terms of, it's cheap, 1.9, but it didn't feel nice enough for the core.
It's probably too expensive to be the new Aquila, right?
Yeah, like Aquila, used to give you kind of the equivalent.
Everything, but it was
minus movement.
It was just really good.
It was much cheaper though, like 1100 or something. So,
well,
because if you look at it, its components are about 1100, but there's an 800 recipe is what this is for the drum. So
Yeah, so it felt a bit shit because if you're a core and you've got your components, which are nice, but then you've got to spend 800 gold to then get no added value because that recipe basically completes the drums and basically gives you those active charges, which are very, very powerful in a fight and in a skirmish. But if you're a core, you don't want your gold to be just waiting to be utilized, if you know what I mean. So slapping it on a 4 or 5, I feel like would be very nice.
Can I clear something up about the active? So the passive, the speed aura passive, increase nearby allies' attack speed by 20. When the active is popped, does it give a further further 35 attack speed?
Yeah.
So a total of 55.
Total. Yeah.
That's incredible. I mean,
13% move speed, which is...
I think the fact that, like Marco said, the recipe is 800, that shows that this item now more than ever is really all about those charges, right? Which makes me think that maybe it's an item you want when you're really trying to sort of win the game when you pick it up. Like, as in, blow the charges within the next sort of 5 minutes and just hopefully have the game won by that point. Because once you use those charges, like, the value of the items just diminished a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to play at a pace, so as opposed to, say, a Vlad's more sustain, semi-siege, ball, clump game style, if you want to play at a faster pace and be on the front foot, drums would be more the way to go, I think, because if you're going to make a little gank happen or make a tower push happen, have a little 3v3 skirmish, the value you would get from a drums active would be what you want in those moments.
Yeah, it's like if you're going to spend... It's like what you said about the carry needing their goal to be realised now. If you're playing, in general, more defensive strategy, you don't necessarily want to crush the opponents within the next 10 minutes. You're quite happy to like farm it up, play like a tit-for-tat even game, reactive Dota. Then you probably don't want to buy the drums, just because it doesn't really fit that play style particularly. But if you are trying to go like cutthroat, we need to win fights and get objectives in the next sort of 5 to 10 minutes, then drum seems like an excellent choice.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get all of that value is front loaded with the item, because once the charges are gone, that's a lot of the gold value is gone as well.
I think as well, on a 4 or 5, the timing of the drums would fit very nicely with that early to mid game period where your cores have got their own first 1.5 item, that then your drums timing should fit with this like mid game. Now we're having skirmishes, so I feel like it would time really well on the support. And also, when I think of drums, I think of playing with VP solo, and he was playing Venge, and I remember him getting drums and being like, this guy, this build seemed to do really good work. So that's kind of etched in my mind as to why it's sick.
And drum charges seem like ultimate like siege spell, right? Siege item. You
the
just
ultimate,
pop it.
The glyph bait.
Glyph bait, yeah, it's like because it lasts shorter than the glyph now. But this is like a battle trance, kind of old troll battle trance.
Yeah.
For sieging or killing phoenix eggs. They're like, these are so value of charges now. Like, I don't even think you pop them to run away. I think you actually just live with dying and be like, no, these are too strong, especially if you buy it as a support.
Yeah, you'd rather have your 5 just like run into enemies, sacrifice, keep a drum charge.
Creeps get it as well, so when you are pushing, you will get a good amount of extra damage from the creep too.
Oh, the glyph drums, the offensive glyph with drums, so your creeps just munch a tower. That's the play.
Man, this just makes me want to have a team where you just buy all 3 of these items. Even the helm, because you got the big creep with the damage aura, and you just siege.
Well, you say all these 3 items, Adam, but
right.
You mean all 4 items.
Yeah.
Enter stage left, Mekanism, 1,950 gold. It's cheaper than it used to be, right? It used to be over 2k. It used to be like 2,300, if I'm right in thinking that.
Yeah.
This item gives 4 all attributes, 6 armor, a lot of armor, that's just to the user. The passive aura component is 2.5 health regen, and obviously the active is the 275 health. that's the item really, and we've talked about mech before on the podcast, and how in previous patches, certainly before Outlanders, it basically felt like it was a component of Guardian Greaves, and that was all it was, really. Just an item on the way to Greaves. Is it still in that category, or is this worth more consideration? Do you guys think?
I have played the game as it being a component of Guardian Greaves.
I think
I will admit that. Yeah,
I think it's outclassed. That's the problem. It's like if you removed Vlads and drums, maybe people would just build it more as just, I'm getting a mech because mech is good. But at the moment, these other items seem like a bit better
much
value.
Better. Yeah, better gold for or like effect per gold is higher for the other things, because I think it is that way because those don't actually build into anything further. So
yes,
probably has to be that way, or else everyone would be buying mech.
I think mech is moving in the right direction to be viable in of just itself. And I think it's not. I see a strong argument for someone going, I'm going to get a mech rather than a Vlads in our push clump up together gameplay, because it's pretty cheap now. It's now sub 2k, 1,950. It gives armor now. I think it benefits from not having to get a head. What was it? Buckler and headdress. Did it used to be?
Now it's just chainmail and headdress.
Yeah, so you're getting 6 armor. So on a support, that is significant, and you're getting some 4 attributes, which didn't used to always be the case. And you're getting the HP regen aura has been nerfed. I see in the patch log, so that's maybe taking it out of favor. I think if the cooldown on the active wasn't quite as large as 65 seconds in this mid-game period, it's like you're only getting 1 off, whereas in Grieves, when it's 40 seconds, you're getting basically guaranteed 2 Grieves off in a fight. I think the fact that it's a 65 cooldown makes it maybe not quite good enough to pick up just on its own.
I'll tell you why I don't like Mekanism. Is it costs 225 mana to use it. And that severely limits the heroes that you can build it on. Whereas Grieves is free, and since, like, going back, this is like the Venge podcast episode, but like when I built Grieves on Venge, she cannot have a Mekanism. She has no mana pool whatsoever, but she can do a Grieves just fine because it's free.
Yeah.
And 40-second cooldown.
Yeah. Also, just to sort of, we picked apart mech a bit here. Another thing I want to say is that I actually don't think the active restore is that big. If you think about where mech should be, I really like what Marco was saying about how it's nice to have a cheap item, like a sub 2k item, that gives an AoE burst heal. That's like quite a nice, seems like a cool thing to have in the game. But it's on such a high cooldown and such a high mana that for that price, it really needs to be sort of
400 health.
Yeah, like it needs to be a bit bigger than 275, because I feel like the dream situation for mech where that 275 mana makes the difference, like saves a hero before they get off BKB, or like all of this stuff. It's like when you're picking it up so early in the game, you can get a 2k item like early. You think about when a Vlads is picked up, even when a Helm-Dom's picked up, like it's quite early, drums as well. At that point in the game, I don't think burst heal is as valuable as later in the game when you get Grieves, because heroes' relative power isn't so like exponential at that point. If you've got a hero that's say on 100 HP and you burst heal them to 375, 15, 20 minutes into the game, I think it rarely makes a difference. Whereas late game,
I think that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I'd say the complete opposite. I think that the value of the mech heal is stronger 15 minutes in the game, because at 15 minutes the game, the arsenal of the enemy team is more limited in my eyes. They blow their spells, and then they don't have much else going. They don't have items. They don't have right click manpower.
And they're not fully skilled either. So
they're
not
fully
have
skilled.
Yeah.
The cooldowns are higher. The damage is lower. I feel like the mech can just nullify a lot of enemy output, because it's this AoE heal that if the enemy's team damage is spread across you and no one's dying, and you heal everyone up 275 and effectively like over 1,000 team heal, the enemy's now like, oh, all my kit's gone. Like, that situation can be super potent.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I guess when I think of mech, I think of like Adam's equivalent of always thinking of bench. I think of Viper, and in games where I have mech but I haven't finished Grieves, say, or rather, just the longer I have mech, like the nicer it feels. If I ever have like with a 4-staff, I just think stuns are higher value the later in the game goes. I don't know if that's like true, but just you can always burst a hero, stun lock them no matter how strong they are. But in the early game, it's like you don't need to stun lock heroes as much because there aren't 4-stars, there aren't BKBs. You can. There's more like room. So late game, that mech heal that buys the time for the 4-star for the BKB, and it's like, wow, you've just saved. But like early game, the mech heal, it's like they have no mobility, so they just get chased down and wait for a second. I mean, it's insanely game dependent.
Yeah,
like, there's no hard fire rule.
I will say the way back when, like when every mid was building mech, right? That's probably like 2 or 3 years ago at this point. But mech at a time was like one of the most popular items, and everyone was building it, and you had to have one on your team because the other team was going to have one. And pros would say that the most important mech usage was the first one. Like, you would group up and you would fight an objective, and you having the burst 1,250 heal to the team total was what let you win the fight and then take a tower and then take control of the game. Like, it was all about the early mech usage at 8 minutes, 12 minutes.
It used to give armor on active
right.
as well.
Ah, yeah, it did, didn't it?
So it used to be way more powerful than just heal to the team.
Especially relative to the game, like what other items could give you at that time. Now it just feels completely outclassed, and especially with people building double bracer or double wraithband, building like all these stat items, they're tankier. I feel like there's HP creep kind of all this time later, to where now mech doesn't have the same effect. And I think it's probably mostly from the nerf. I feel like it was maybe 150 to use mana.
It used to
now
be.
It's 225. That really kills all agi heroes from using it.
Yeah. Another point I would make about why it's probably not quite good enough is it only gives 2.5 HP regen aura, which is 0.5 more
That's
than
half the Helm.
Headdress. Half the Helm. It did used to be a 4.5 HP regen aura in 7.2. So that is like nearly twice as much aura regen. That is strong, but now it's just 0.5 more than a Headdress. You may as well just build a casual Headdress, and that 1.5 could go into another item, really, if you're the position 5. Because, 1.5k gold just to get that heal that you're going to use once in a team fight probably doesn't outweigh putting that gold into a Vlads, which is constantly of value in a team fight.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, mech has a 41% win rate this patch.
Yikes. That's because they only win when it turns into Grieves.
Yeah, it's pitiful to look at these win rates. The Dazzle's built it the most and has a 35% win rate in the games where he has it. But it's true. You do win if you get the Grieves.
Let's look then at these sort of late mid-game items, and there's 3 real standout aura items: Pipe, Crimson, and Grieves, the Underlord trifecta, as I like to call it. They're almost in different classes, because Pipe is so cheap relative to these others.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, it's 2,900. Crimson Guard, 3,800, so 900 more. And then Guardian Grieves just shy of 5k, 4,950, so basically 5k. So that's like, 1,200 more than the Crimson Guard. So they're kind of in 3 separate categories, really. But nevertheless, we can go wherever we want. I don't know about you guys, but I really feel like Crimson Guard is not a support item. You're never, just because of what it gives, 250 health, 10.5 HP regen,
Yeah.
6 armor. It's like, you don't want your support to be building Crimson Guard, because you don't want your support to have a Vanguard, really. So it's like, this Pipe and this Grieves make a lot more sense to just have on a support, and a Crimson feels like a position 3 item.
Definitely. Its value relative to these other items is more weighted on its non-active components of HP, big 10.5 HP regen, lots of armor, 6 armor, and then the active component of Crimson is like the other 25% value, whereas it's like the reverse for these more utility items.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Crimson Guard active is crazy good.
In certain situations, it's crazy good.
Yeah, it's situationally bonkers good. It's like Grieves is insane every game.
Yeah.
Pipe is pretty insane every game.
Typically, yeah.
Whereas Crimson Guard isn't. Crimson Guard's very specifically good. And another reason for that is Crimson Guard, there's no passive aura. It's just an active. There's no passive. Like, Pipe and Grieves obviously give passive. Albeit, the passive Pipe is 10% magic resistance, 2 HP regen, and obviously Grieves does a bunch of stuff. But Crimson Guard, when the active isn't up, which it won't be for 36 seconds, right? There's 36-second downtime. It does nothing for any allies. So then you're just relying on the built-in attribute stuff and HP armor, etc. on the one hero. So that's another reason why it's not on a support item, because 75% of the time it's only affecting the wearer. It's only giving the owner bonus stuff, item stuff.
Yeah, I'd say with Crimson, it's too expensive to farm up on a support to have it at a time in the game where it's relevant. Like, the earlier you get the Crimson Guard, the better. So I feel like the only person that can do that is like the 3 or maybe a 1 if you're Bristleback 1 or something.
Yeah.
But like a support can like passive gold their way into a Pipe, it feels like.
Yeah, I
think that's only 900 gold difference, but it feels so much more difficult to get to. Also, there are melee supports, but the supports aren't wanting Crimson Guard, not generally like benefiting from having the Crimson Guard be on their hero, like what you said.
It's like the build-up's so grim. What supports want to buy Vanguard, Helm of the Iron Will, and then a 750 recipe? That's so gross compared to Pipe, which is Headdress Hood. That's so much better. Like, Hood obviously isn't ideal for a support, but even that is better than Helm of the Iron Will or Vanguard.
Yeah.
Oftentimes. So Pipe just feels more feasible. Having said that, though, of course, would you really consider Pipe to be a support item? Is it really one that they'd want? Because when I often think of a 5 and a 4, I might be more inclined to say, in almost all games, it's going to be better for them to say, look towards Vlads or Drums, and then just look towards Grieves, almost. I'd almost rather just say, get going towards Grieves, rather than saying, go for a Pipe. Because it's like Crimson, the earlier you get it, the stronger it's going to be. And the build-up's just not quite good enough for me to want to see it on a 5 or 4. I'd rather see it rushed on a 3. Or even a 2, like a utility 2. I don't know what you guys' thoughts are on where Pipe fits into this.
I think it's quite game dependent. I'm not crazy about it on someone who's a 4 or a 5, to be honest. I think it's too expensive. No, it's 2.9 now, but
I think the build up on it's fine. It's just like if your team's not going to build it, I think you should build it. But
I
think it's that value.
I think when I say it's expensive, so yeah, 2.9 is okay, but as a support, I don't think you want to be holding a Hood of Defiance, 1.7k, because you shouldn't be in the front line, etc. 800 gold recipe that's just redundant, 800 gold as well. So I feel like you've got a lot of sunk gold before you get to that Pipe, which makes me really unkeen for a support to be farming that up.
Yeah, I do. I agree with both of what you said. Definitely to what Adam said. If your team's not building a Pipe, you should get one. Because
not every game, though.
Not every game, but
like
it is insanely good. Like, the item is insanely good. There's never really a pro game where they don't get a pipe unless they've gone for a specific strategy to like end early sort of thing, like a very item timing, other strat that's item timing and not necessarily pipe. In like a general game of Dotes, the value of a pipe is like so strong.
Is it better to get a pipe rather than build towards a Grieves? Just because it's cheaper that you can get it earlier and just progress the game faster?
Yeah, I think so. It obviously is game dependent, but Grieves, it suffers even more from the problem that you described, just in the sense that it's got a 1600 recipe, which is obviously massive and really painful often. And obviously you're going to be stuck with a somewhat underwhelming mech, as we've previously discussed. Mm-hmm. Having said that, of course, Grieves is an insane item, an absolutely insane item. I do think pipe is similar. I know, Marco, you always say, build Grieves and win the game, because it is that good. Pipe's obviously not as good as it should be, because it's only 2.9k. But the value is, I think, underrated. Oftentimes in games, just building pipe will pay dividends that you wouldn't even imagine, It's just going to be that strong. My point would be that for those reasons, I don't really want it built on a 5 or a 4, because it's like, I'd rather get it built on a 3 or a 2 or a 1, whichever is sort of like a utility core. Get it quick and then just be like an absolute monster.
Yeah.
Interestingly, that when I play Viper, when I played Viper before Outlanders, because it's sort of changed into a right clicker now, but before Outlanders, I always would either go pipe or Grieves after Atos, pretty much every game. Most of the time it would be Grieves, probably 60% of the time, but pipe is very much to be considered among those two. That they were sort of, they do the same thing in a lot of games, and just making you insanely tanky, like when you first pick them up. It's just that pipe comes online a bit faster, and against certain lineups is a bit better. Obviously, those lineups being magic damage lineups.
Yeah, I think if you can get a core to smash out the farm to pick it up, and then get your use out of it as soon as possible and as early as possible, I can see that being very strong, because it's like mech but on steroids. Like, delay the game 3 minutes for you to farm that extra 1,000 gold. Then when it comes to that siege, rather than just doing a pop of 275 to everyone every minute, you're doing this basically 400 pop to everyone, and you're given more natural resistance, aura, magic resistance, and you're giving yourself that better tank ability from, 8 HP regen to the bearer and 30% magic resistance to yourself. So if you're on a 2 or a 3 that's in the front line a bit, that's going to be innate a lot of value to you as well.
Also, it's worth saying Snapfire and Void Spirit are in 30%. They both have 30% pick rates pretty much, and they both do big AoE magic damage. So maybe Pipe's value is on the up just based off those things. I don't know. Pipe is obviously going to be extremely good against those two heroes, right? But
oh yeah, the other thing I was going to say is, so because it's got so much dead sunk cost, I don't like it on a support. It takes them too long to materialize value. I think if your core can build it, get it at a good timing, abuse the early pickup, that can be major sick. I also think as a 4 or a 5, there are better items for them to build up and then finish with. I would way rather my support have a Glimmer 5 to 10 minutes earlier in the game, or a 4-star 5 minutes earlier in the game, as opposed to a pipe a bit later. Yeah, that's what I finally say about a 4 or 5 thinking about getting it.
Right, and then final item to touch on is this Grieves. This is the big daddy of aura items, basically. I think
God Grieves.
Yeah, we can definitely give Grieves the sort of new meta seal of approval.
Yeah,
we love this item. What is there really to say about it? We've harped on about it many a time.
Guardian aura, OP, underrated.
We talked about how mech didn't give armor anymore, and in theory, Guardian Greaves doesn't, but it does because it gives 2.5 HP regen and 10 armor when they fall below 20%. So yeah, that's that. That's the real. That's why the recipe is 1 trillion gold.
It gives 16 health regen when they go below 20%.
Yeah, 16 health. Yeah. Sorry, 16
Yeah.
regen for the mend bit when they're super low. Otherwise, a passive 2.5.
Yeah.
So yeah,
The 40-second cooldown is what's disgusting though in my eyes. Like nearly over
every creep wave.
Every creep wave. So if you start a fight, I think you should make sure you're popping it in the first 5-10 seconds, because then it's basically guaranteed that 45 to 50 seconds once a skirmish has started, it'll still be going or very near the end, and then you pop it again. And so in that 45-second period, you've got 600 HP, 400 mana to your team. That's bonkers numbers for a mid-game skirmish, or like even early, late-game skirmish. Bonkers value. And then the active, like you say, below 20% HP. I can't get over how it kicks in at 20% HP.
Yeah, it would be reasonable if it was like 8% HP or something.
Yeah.
So many times people just get away. They just walk it off, barely live. The enemy hero thinks they have them, turns around, and then they walk away. With just that sliver, that 16 HP regen, that 10 armor provides just enough. And then also the Grieves active dispelling yourself, so huge.
Definitely, yeah. That's another thing you're not getting anywhere else.
Oh, Silencer popped global? Grieves. I cast my spell,
Yeah. Really anything, yeah.
It's definitely a key ingredient of a winning lineup. If you've got a Grieves,
And in terms of building it for a winning lineup, I think we'd all agree that you're going to want a Grieves coming from somewhere. Do you think in Outlanders now it's reasonable to look for it on a 4-5? Because there's obviously going to be pros and cons when you're thinking about some of these core heroes, like the old Viper, like some of these other funky ones you see sometimes like SF or whatever. There are certain benefits to just getting on a core. You're going to get it quicker. Is it so good that you just want to build it ASAP? Or is it worth waiting to get it on a 4-5, do you think? Or is it just game dependent, hero dependent?
I think you don't want to wait.
Go ahead. Yeah. On a 4-5, I would only 4 is more achievable. 5's pretty tough unless you have a really good early game with some towers and stuff. But I think it's a core item for the most part. I was going to say largely a 3 item, but I think 1, 2, and 3 can build it depending on who the hero is. I mean, it's so good on Snapfire. I will just say that. I build it every game on Snapfire. No matter how late you can get it. Normally it's my first item, and I've finished it before at minute 10, and that was an amazing feeling. That was a wonderful game. 400 health at 10 minutes.
Yikes, yeah. Yeah, I mean, anything else you want to add? That's kind of adequately expressed our love for this item, I suppose. I would just agree, yeah. I think, on the whole, you want to get it on a core, probably. Because another thing to say is it's really expensive. Like, all of these things we're describing, yes, they're incredibly good value, but this item is 5k. So that's why. And oftentimes 5k is a step too far for support, especially in a metagame where games are often ending at 23 minutes. You're not going to see a mech on your support at 20 minutes in most games. So get it on the core, get it online early, where it can actually make an impact onto a lot of these somewhat stompy games that we see at the moment. That's what I would say.
What about AC and Shiva?
Oh,
those are auras.
They are auras.
I didn't even think of
that's
them.
Not, That's not how we're not defining those type of auras. I mean, that's that's different.
That's funny, actually. I didn't even think of Shivas. I thought of AC, and I was like, that doesn't count because it's not really like a team aura.
And it's very expensive.
Yeah,
although Shivas cost just as much as a Grieves.
True.
Shiva's aura, the most underrated aura in the game.
Just because it's so hard to quantify.
Yeah.
Like, you don't notice it.
Really?
But it's only value
10 less attack speed than you say it's the most underrated aura, but you just counter it with a cheap drums, and you're still net plus 10 attack speed.
Yeah,
there we go.
The reason it's not in this category is, can you imagine looking at your position 5's quick buy and seeing a Mystic Staff in there? That's a feels bad.
You say that, but I lost to that position 4 Void Spirit who went Shiva first, and let me tell you, that felt really bad because they pop Shiva, and then you get an easy Remnant, and then you just blow up. Like,
Shiva's such a weird item. You don't see it anymore. I haven't seen a Shiva in ages.
It seems like it'd be good because you shove out waves, right? And like your Dota 2's a brawler now, so minus attack speed aura, and then just the vision and the wave clear. It seems like Shiva would be really good for the constant fights and stuff.
Yeah, it's very hero specific in my eyes because 30 and 15 armor are very significant, very strong, but not every hero wants that necessarily, and then not every game needs or wants attack speed slow as well, so game specific is also
I used to
favorites. I think it's really cool because the visual is sick as well.
Yeah, especially battle pass time. I mean, not that I ever have enough levels to see it, but those fun Shivas are pretty cool. I used to build it on Lena like all the time, and I can't imagine doing that now. There's too much other stuff I need to like Ags and shit. But there you are. That's episode 67, Aura Items. We'll be back next week. As always, I'm feeling an OD discussion coming on because this hero has been... I've been thinking about it a lot because I don't know what's going on. I don't know whether it's good. I don't know whether it's bad. I don't know what item builds you should go. I don't know anything. I'm seeing people build Aether Lens and Ags. I'm seeing people go Aether Ags and it looks good. And I'm like, okay, I'll try that and it's bad. And then the next game I see someone just doing Kaya, 4-staff Bloodstone. There's all sorts of weirdness going on. OD, the eternal hero of 45% win rate while simultaneously being the most giga broken hero in the game. So
I think you just go 6 energy boosters.
Yeah. Honestly, that could be the build. You never know. If people are building Aether Lens just for the mana, then, I mean, yeah, could be.
And a lot of Ags, like that, I've never seen that before this patch, and now everyone's picking Ags, and it's like, you want double Astrals all the time?
With the bonus range. Funky stuff. But yeah, perhaps. That's a teaser for the listeners for next week, we'll see. But yeah, join us again then. And until then, enjoy this beautiful final whistle.